Hello everybody, it's Joel here with
Meeks.
Davey Meeks, and this is our video review of PES 2014, which you have been playing, Meeks, and awarded the score of
8 out of 10.
8 footballs out of 10 footballs.
Fat number.
So let's talk about PES. What did you think of it? What were your overall gameplay impressions?
I liked it much more than last year's version, which I also reviewed and gave 8. But this year, this was the big headline features. It's now got the Fox engine, which is Konami's proprietary tech, which will soon be powering Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, next year.
Why doesn't this look anywhere near as good as that then?
Well, aesthetically, from the normal wide view, it's not as good looking a game as FIFA 14, but in terms of the feel of the animation when you're on the ball, it does feel appreciably better than last year. Like, there's a real kind of grace and fluidity to player movement now, and a real kind of convincing physicality in midfield battles, and it just feels really, especially when you're dribbling with better players like a Neymar or a Messi or Ronaldo, it just feels very, very crisp, which is something that extends to passing as well. The ball physics feel far more convincing than they did last year, and I'd even go as far as say the ball physics actually feel more convincing.
Yeah, they were talking
FIFA
about
well.
their Barry-centric physics thing a while ago, and it's basically the ball is now its own thing.
Yeah, so it feels, I think this is one area that FIFA has improved this year as well. It generally, especially with aerial balls, proceedings feel less on rails, and I'd say that PES 2014 actually feels even less on rails than FIFA. It just feels, everything feels very free. Something that PES used to be horribly guilty of was the whole kind of on rails, every player feels like they're on an invisible train track, and that's not the case anymore at all. It really feels that you've got the entire pitch at your disposal, that you almost feel like you can slot balls into any space on the pitch. So the passing, there's a great deal of variety to it, which I think is partly down to these Barry ball bag physics or whatever.
That's exactly what it's called. Yeah, I quite like the passing, and it does feel quite nice. The animations are quite good. I simply couldn't get past the fact that it looked really, really bad.
I was mostly when I was reviewing it in the office, I was using quite an old TV, which didn't look great. That did not help it. On my Panasonic home, it looked fine. It did not. I mean, it doesn't look as good as FIFA, but it looked perfectly fine.
We also had quite a lot of juddering slowdown.
No, yeah, this is a bigger issue. Now, for some reason, it was a strange affliction that also blighted PES 2009, which was the first PES on PS3. There is momentary stuttering, weirdly, when the ball goes out of play. So if you, say, have a near miss and it just glances by the post, or if it hits the bar and comes back out, the game will stutter and the frame rate will drop quite badly. Weirdly, it doesn't actually happen for goals, it only seems to happen for near misses. Also, the replays are an absolute shambles as well. Like, the frame rate on replays are frequently about 10 frames a second.
It's not a good sign, and you wonder if you're going to play sort of frantic multiplayer matches with several players.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly
have a real effect.
That could be an issue with lag, because I know PES certainly has had lag issues online before. It's the sort of thing they can probably fix with a post-release patch, but that's it's not really good enough, because if you don't have the internet, you're pretty much screwed. I can only imagine it's a kind of teething problem of working for the Fox engine for the first time. For 95% of matches, it simply won't bother you. But as a presentation factor, it's certainly another kind of instance why it falls behind FIFA 14.
Speaking of presentation, where are we now with licenses?
Licensing is still very frustrating. So. No licensed Prem teams apart from Man United.
That's the only one you need, it's fine.
Yeah. You've got no Bundesliga apart from Bayern Munich, Schalke 4 and Bayern Leverkusen, so no Borussia Dortmund, even though they're Champions League finalists. But we do have a fully licensed Polish league, yeah!
Now, I'm confused, because I thought that because they had the Champions League license, they would have all the teams in the Champions League.
They essentially have the vast majority of them, but they obviously, it depends on league licensing as well, so
because it's difficult now with so many people having gone to FIFA when it was or still is, to my mind, the better of the two games. It's almost impossible now to go back from a world where you have all the licenses and all the leagues to somewhere where you've got generic white kits and West London and blue and stuff like that.
I completely take that point. I think for the casual punter, FIFA is still a much more seductive package, largely because licensing. Because I spent an hour on my first day with the game just fiddling about with the summer transfers to get them right. We all know that PES have a very dedicated community, so there will be very good edit kits coming probably in the first few weeks of release that'll make the kits look nearly as good as FIFA, but it's still I understand why that's a stumbling block that a lot of people can't get past. For me, it really all comes down to on-field, and one thing I will say that this does considerably better than FIFA is how individual players feel. Konami calls it the player ID system, which they introduced last year. So there's like 50 or 60 players in the game, like your big stars, like your Ronaldos, your Iniestas, etc., who all have these individual traits, like the way they trap a ball, or the running animation, or the way they go for a header, or the way they take a set piece. And as such, just visually, even when you're watching a pulled out cam, you really can tell the difference between these players and the rest. So like Ronaldo has a completely bespoke animation, the way like he jumps up for a header is completely bespoke. It's in contrast to FIFA, where I've always felt with FIFA, excellent as it is, even the better players merely feel like a bit faster, a bit stronger. They don't really feel truly bespoke or unique. We're seeing some of the custom features here, which you can't do in FIFA, but if you really want to give Olivier Giroud that preposterously handsome French man, you can like squash his head or give him purple dreads.
Yeah, I mean that's the feature everyone wants from their football games, right? Now, one thing that they spoke about pre-release, which I didn't notice when I was playing it, was the heart system, which is about players responding to the crowd and stuff like that. Did you get any sense of that when you were playing it?
Not particularly. I mean, I guess there's always been some sort of momentum system in football games, depending on like what the score is. So like if the AI's suddenly 2 or 3-0 up, they'll suddenly start playing amazingly, and I think it's something we've seen in certainly PES down the FIFA down the years. If you're like 3 goals down, players just completely go in a tailspin, won't do anything. I didn't really notice anything directly related to the crowd. I will say one thing I do want to quickly bring up is the controlled AI runs are absolutely brilliant. They were really finicky to use last year, but they were simplified in this year. So you hold down L1 and then you just point the right stick, flick it in the direction of the man you want to run, and you'll automatically start making like a really incisive penetrative run.
That's a good idea.
The matron, and it was a complete eye opener for me. I mean, I did several Champions League campaigns, and as soon as I'd really made to like time those runs to perfection, you could really exploit with like really devastating raking through balls, which made it gives you more control in the final attacking third, and I'd say FIFA does. So
we're seeing some transfer stuff here. How is Master League and all that kind of stuff?
Master League is very perfunctory next to Manager mode in FIFA. FIFA has continually added further bells and whistles, all that kind of Sky Sports style Super Sunday presentation with D-Day and all the transfer gubbins, which is really effective if you're a hardcore fan. Master League hasn't moved on at all. You can now switch. You can switch clubs mid-season with your manager, but apart from that, like the player valuations are totally off. Like I bought Suarez when I was at Madrid for about £13 million.
Oh yeah, just like
player valuations are off, and the menus are a bit shambolic, and it's still an involving mode just because any Master League always has been, but it clearly lags behind manager mode.
So how would you sum up the game sort of overall in terms of its qualities and how it shapes up versus FIFA?
Yeah, so if you're really prepared to scratch beneath the surface and get to know it intimately, it plays a cracking game of football, which for my personal taste actually outperforms FIFA in key areas. There's no doubt in my mind though that as good as this is and the steps it's made forward, for the average football fan, the kind of casual PlayStation consumer, FIFA 14 is still a much more seductive package. So, but yeah, I'd still heartily recommend PES as an alternative.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed our video review, and leave your comments below. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Fernando Torres on the ball. Great through ball over the top.
To be fair, that was tough for the keeper to handle.
Fernando Torres shoots. It's a really good try, but no goal.
Or maybe he just cut across the shot slightly and that made it track the wrong side of the post, but that's very unlucky.